Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2482 Fiery Prison City 1. Above the Sky Sea Fortress, the night sky was tinged with deep red by the lights of the war preparedness system. Hundreds of thousands of mechs, warships, and superhuman warriors are ready to go. Huge energy pipelines run through the entire city, and the deep humming sound seems to be the prelude to an apocalyptic expedition. Zhang Yi stood on the command platform at the top of the main tower, overlooking the entire Steel City. Tianhai City is humanity's most powerful fortress, yet he personally shut down most of its defense systems, leaving only a silent city outline. In order to attack the kingdom of the Zhurong clan, he had to divert the vast majority of his fighting force. So what's left is just an empty shell. After all, he couldn't possibly bring the entire city's hundreds of thousands of people with him when fighting. Energy hub locked, city mode switched to full defense mode. The voice of the intelligent control center echoed in the air. The entire city was shrouded in a somber atmosphere, with the remaining patrol members armed with heavy weapons, diligently guarding the territory. Zhou Kuo walked to his side, wearing a black combat cloak, her silver hair fluttering in the wind. Are we really going to mobilize the entire army? The world is in turmoil right now, and those who stay behind might be in danger. A hint of reluctance appeared in her eyes. After all, Tianhai City has been destroyed and rebuilt several times, and this version of Tianhai City is her favorite. The level of civilization even surpasses that before the apocalypse. Zhang Yi calmly replied, "It's only temporary. We will end this war as quickly as possible and then return. After my previous deterrence, no ancient civilization will dare to approach us for a while. If Tianhai wants to survive, it cannot remain stagnant. To instill fear in them, it must actively plunder." His gaze pierced the night, looking eastward. That was the direction deep within the Earth's crust. The Zhurong clan, they will be our first touchstone. In Zhang Yi's shadow space, in the luxurious command hall that had been set up, Lu Karen, Fatty Su, Zhou Kuo, Deng Shintong, Uncle Yu, and others gathered together. The air was thick with a sense of both unease and excitement, and the light screen on the wall projected maps of the underground geological structure and energy density. Wearing technician gloves, Lu Karen smiled excitedly. Finally, this day has come. My dreamer is practically bursting with excitement. While stuffing a nutrition bar into his mouth, Fatty Su exclaimed, "Isn't this hell? 50,000 meters underground. The temperature there could roast me into a pork chop." Uncle Yu sighed, patted Fatty Su's face and said, "Say less unlucky things, or everyone will turn you into a pork chop right now." Fatty Su obediently covered his mouth. I was just joking. Going to the inner world to fight makes one feel a little uneasy. Even though his superpower index is as high as 30,000 points, his inherent caution, which is even greater than Zhang Yi's, cannot be changed. Deng Shintong sat upright in his chair, his long fingers tapping the table. Theoretically, as long as the Dreamer's energy shield is fully activated, we can operate in the upper mantle for more than 30 years. In addition, the new combat suits that Miss Lu has made for us have an adaptive temperature system, so there shouldn't be any major problems. Not a big problem? Hey, have you never been sprayed in the face by lava? Fatty Su said worriedly. That thing is hotter than a woman's temper. Everyone is used to Fatty Su's tone of voice and couldn't be bothered to pay him any attention. Yang Xinxin's voice swept by like a cool breeze. Our mission this time is to attack, not to explore. I have already planned the route, and with the fire demon leading the way, we can bypass all defenses and go straight to the core area of the Zhurong clan. Her gaze swept over everyone, her tone icy. This is a war of civilization. Gentlemen, enjoy the hunt. A flicker of shattered excitement flashed in her obsidian-like eyes. Unlike others, Yang Xinxin enjoys life after the apocalypse. Only in such a world can her talents be displayed and she be able to enjoy thrilling adventures at all times. When Zhang Yi's voice came, everyone instinctively stood up straight. Assembly complete. Yes. Zhang Yi's gaze penetrated the shadows, sweeping over the crowd, his tone steady and powerful. This operation is codenamed Molten Realm Expedition. Target: the Zhurong clan. Objective: to destroy the civilization that initiated the war against Huaxiu, and to intimidate all ancient civilizations in the present world. He paused for a moment, his tone lowering slightly. This is not a defensive battle, but a battle to establish our authority. We must let all races know. The Huaxiu kingdom, especially my territory, Zhang Yi's territory, is absolutely inviolable. Lu Karen's eyes gleamed brightly, and he couldn't wait to take out the weapon he had personally improved and unleash its full power. Establish authority. I like that word. Then, let's blow the Earth's core into it this time. Zhang Yi glanced at her, a slight smile playing on his lips. That's exactly what I plan to do. He turned his gaze to the outside world, raised his hand, and opened an enormous dimensional gate. Let's begin. Boom. A tremendous commotion resounded in Tianhai City, and the colossal Tianhai fortress immediately rose from the ground, flying towards the dimensional gate in midair. The light patterns on the fortress's outer shell flowed like tides, gradually blurring the city's boundaries. The entire Sky-Sea fortress was sucked into another dimension, like a massive steel whale sinking into the mirror sea. A dozen seconds later, only a vast, empty wasteland remained, with the wind howling. The fire demon has been completely controlled and is guiding Zhang Yi through the shadows. The dimensional gate opened, and Zhang Yi took a step out, instantly disappearing 5 kilometers away. He quickly arrived at the area where the volcano had erupted, and from there headed straight for the Earth's core. In the underground world, it is actually very difficult to determine the location. The Zhurong clan relies on their innate ability to identify directions. Without their guidance, it would indeed be very difficult to find the kingdom of the Zhurong clan hidden in a tiny crevice within the vast Earth. Zhang Yi traversed thick layers of soil and rock, rapidly descending to a depth of approximately 50,000 meters, reaching the upper mantle region. Guided by the fire demon, he finally found the entrance to the kingdom of Zhurong. After another spatial teleportation, the darkness suddenly disappeared, and the dazzling light made Zhang Yi squint slightly. The red light of magma, the blue light of space, and the white light of energy intertwined to create a chaotic picture. A river of lava rushes ahead, its scorching temperature reaching thousands of degrees Celsius. However, this level of high temperature had no effect on Zhang Yi, who was wearing the End Demon God armor. But seeing the colorful lava river due to temperature differences, he couldn't help but sigh. It's a miracle that life can exist in a place like this. The fire demon knelt before the crack, his forehead almost touching the ground, and said respectfully, "Master, the path leading to the city of Inferno lies ahead." Chapter 2483 Fiery Prison City 2. We need to traverse 7 layers of mantle fissures and 12 magma zones before we can reach the Earth's core. The middle is filled with multiple lines of defense, including natural defenses formed by magma rivers and man-made defenses by the Zhurong clan. If your presence is exposed, the Zhurong clan will activate the Earth's core fire to stop your invasion. Therefore, please follow my instructions carefully. Fire Ghost, looking extremely thoughtful, analyzed the pros and cons for Zhang Yi. Very well, let's go then. Zhang Yi said it casually, not really caring. All obstacles are meaningless to him. The vast distances are merely a fleeting moment in his spatial journey. Zhang Yi opened a dimensional gate, bypassing various blockades, and continued towards the center of the Zhurong clan. The process of traversing the Earth's crust is both magnificent and terrifying. That was a world that human eyes had never seen before. 10,000-meter-thick rock layers shimmer, with a metallic luster under high pressure, like a petrified starry sea. Passing through the gaps in the dimensional gate, One can occasionally see enormous silicious creatures wriggling in the rock walls, like giant beasts that have been sleeping for hundreds of millions of years. The closer you get to the underground, the more turbulent the magma flows above, where high-temperature gases swirl and create violent energy storms. Even though I knew I was safe in the shadows, witnessing such a spectacular scene still stirred my emotions. Fatty Sue was sweating profusely with nervousness. My God, this place is no human being. Deng Shintong glanced at him and said indifferently, "Are you afraid?" "I'm not afraid. I respect nature." Soon, Zhang Yi had zigzagged his way through the defenses and arrived at the magma layer. It was a true sea of fire. Endless lava flows under the pull of gravity, surging waves reaching hundreds of meters high, and the ejected air currents can melt steel into liquid. However, Tianhai technology is no longer the fragile human civilization of the past. Zhang Yi stood in the sky, his Terminator armor activating stealth mode, a dual stealth system combining optical stealth and radar detection capabilities, making him virtually undetectable. Zhang Yi gazed at the churning sea of rocks and murmured, "It's boiling like blood. Is this the blood of Earth?" Yang Xinxin stood beside him, her dark eyes flashing with cold light, and in that blood lies the flame of the ancients. They continued their descent. Finally, as Zhang Yi passed through the last lava flow, his vision opened up. They arrived in an unimaginable underground world. A vast cave continent floats above a sea of lava. The sky was composed of flowing lava clouds, shimmering red like an eternal sunset. Tens of thousands of rock pillars support this continent, resembling the skeleton of a god. Countless waterfalls of lava cascaded down the cave walls, merging into the sea of fire beneath their feet with a deafening roar. In the sea, a huge lava whale, hundreds of meters long, was slowly swimming, its eyes burning golden fireballs. There are also kilometer-long molten serpents coiling in the dark red waves. When they twist their bodies, the waves they create can swallow an entire skyscraper. Those were living beings, enormous, no less than a blue whale. Yet they could swim in the lava, and Zhou Ke's eyes widened when she saw them. As a doctor, she has also made significant achievements in the field of biology, which is truly unimaginable. Carbon-based organisms can achieve this. Zhang Yi, could you catch some of these magma creatures for me to study later? Zhou Ke asked. Of course. I'd build you a lava zoo, no problem. Zhang Yi said with a smile. He gazed into the distance, his tactical goggles rapidly sweeping across the entire continent via artificial intelligence, retrieving crucial information for Zhang Yi. The view rapidly zoomed in from high above, allowing Zhang Yi to see everything below clearly. The entire city before him was laid out before him in his entirety. Describing this place as a city is not quite appropriate, because its structure is land suspended in magma, like large ships or islands. Above the island stands a man-made, reddish-black city. A city wall made of megaliths and molten gold stretches for miles, with a fire tower atop the city burning with an inextinguishable crimson flame. Within the city, the Zhurong people moved about in dense numbers. Their bodies were as red as rocks, and from a distance they looked like statues sculpted by flames. Living in the Earth's core and able to survive by absorbing geothermal energy, they don't even need to bother developing technology. Therefore, the level of technology is visibly very low. This is an ancient race with muscular builds and simple limbs. No wonder. They didn't even know the current strength of Huashu Kingdom, nor did they know about Zhang Yi's existence, yet they dared to directly attack the ground. I love using a strategy of dimensional reduction. I avoid you when you're at your peak, but I take advantage of you when you're weak. Zhang Yi grinned, revealing a set of chilling white teeth. Looking around, everything was a crimson color, with waves of heat rising and scorching. Fatty Sue swallowed hard. My God, this place looks like the 18th level of hell. Lu Karen's eyes gleamed with fervor. With such concentrated firepower, the thermal energy resources are frighteningly abundant. If we could obtain the technology of the Zhurong clan and develop this subterranean energy, it would be a huge treasure. No matter the time, All Lu Karen thinks about is technology. Deng Shentong also exclaimed with emotion, "This is the miracle of the Zhurong civilization, and also the miracle of the Creator." Yang Xinxin added coldly, "Their buildings are formed by the resonance of rock marrow, requiring no mechanical tools. However, their technological development level is still at the early stage of energy utilization." Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, his gaze passing over the city of flames. A civilization with night-level warriors, yet unable to leave the lava. He smiled faintly. "I'd like to see how long their flames can burn." High in the sky, Zhang Yi slowly opened his arms. "Begin, descend. Let this place become our stepping stone to the heavens and seas." A colossal dimensional gate appeared behind Zhang Yi, as if a rift had been torn in space, stretching across the sky. The first thing to emerge was a row of obsidian-like steel formations. 100,000-strong mechanical army emerged from the dimensional gate in perfect formation, like a surging tide. Each heavily armored mech soldier had a cold white identification ring lit up on its chest, and its shoulder nozzles emitted a thin mist. The shield gleamed with a warm light in the extremely high temperature. Behind him were 30 colossal mechanical life forms, each over 600 meters tall, which were themselves giant land-based motherships. After being modified, they possessed destructive power comparable to that of Inhumans at the White Bishop level. The massive, dark mechanical army has turned the sky above the Zhurong clan's territory into a gloomy and oppressive atmosphere. Chapter 2484 Fiery Prison City 3. The darkening of the sky caused the earth to darken. Many members of the Zhurong clan noticed something amiss with the sky and instinctively looked up, but they simply assumed it was ash from the volcano that was obscuring the sky. They could not have imagined that such a massive army could cross the many natural defenses, the magma layer, and march into their homeland. The 100,000-strong mechanical army is just the beginning. Subsequently, 3 super battleships emerged from the dimensional gate. The Dreamer leads the way. Its hull is silver white, and its spine is inlaid with 12 ring engines, like a giant blade piercing the sky. As Zhang Yi's shadow unfolded, Lu Karen, Zhou Kuer, and other core team members of Zhang Yi, along with the Shadow Force led by Deng Shintong and Bailey Chongqing, all appeared aboard the Dreamer. On the bridge of the Dreamer, Lu Karen stood still, her short hair tied back, her profile cold and focused. Her 10 fingers flew across the keyboard, each keystroke causing millions of energy channels on the warship to surge simultaneously. Dreamer's combat mode fully activated. Main gun preheating, secondary gun scattering, full-frequency jamming online, and thermal shielding increased by 300%. Her voice was as steady as a steel cable. Ground attack protocol in effect. All aircraft cannons locked on simultaneously. Target: Zhurong Outer Ring Residential Area and Patrol Nodes. The second and third warships followed closely behind, positioned on the left and right flanks respectively, like 2 heavily armored and sharpened halberds guarding the heavens. The central tower module of Sky-Sea Fortress also slowly rose from the edge of the Shadow Gate. The huge crystal tower was completely dark, but it slightly distorted the surrounding space, an indescribable shadow created by the entanglement of human technology and etheric civilization. This is the outer ring of the Zhurong clan, and the local people are completely unaware of it. They toiled under the molten light, forging rock armor, guiding the molten flow, and repairing the fire towers. They thought the new era already belonged to them, and that after landing on the surface, 6 generations of humans would be nothing more than ashes to be crushed at will. But the next second, the sky collapsed. The first sound to be heard was the roar of the Dreamer's main gun. The beam of pure white energy shot out from the bow of the ship, piercing through the heat wave as easily as piercing paper and directly enveloping a high tower area in the lava city. The immense energy, like a pillar of heaven, instantly destroyed everything within a 3-kilometer radius, turning it into particles. 1 second ago, the Zhurong people were enjoying a peaceful life, but in an instant, they were plunged into great terror. Wailing cries and angry curses echoed through the city. A large number of Zhurong warriors took up their weapons, But when they discovered that the enemy came from the sky, they had no time to fight back. Liu Karen's second attack is imminent. The secondary guns on the Dreamer formed a well-rounded gun group, closely following the main guns, and poured down incredibly dense beams of blazing, white energy. Like a torrential downpour, it locked onto a large number of Zhurong clan's superpowered warriors. When they unleash their power, their energy surges rapidly, becoming a crimson target in the eyes of the intelligent system, which instantly completes its aiming. Countless thin beams of light formed a network, covering both banks of the entire molten river. The moment the beam of light touched the fire armor, the rock skin of the Zhurong warrior cracked with dense fissures. Then, his entire body seemed to have its support removed from the inside out, leaving only a pile of shattered fire crystals and mottled black ash. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Snap, snap. Their anger lasted only a moment, and before they could even launch a counterattack, their bodies were completely pulverized and exploded. This is the new Dreamer. After a complete upgrade and the energy shortage problem was solved, its destructive power has reached the level of a knight. Attacking these unsuspecting soldiers of the Zhurong clan was as easy as a tornado destroying a parking lot. Upon witnessing this scene, the surviving civilians of the Zhurong clan stared blankly. Because everything happened in an instant, all 30,000-plus superpowered warriors of the Zhurong clan in this city were killed. The deaths were so simple that the others even forgot their anger, and their fear reached its peak, turning into numbness. I must be dreaming. Some people were making sounds with their lips trembling, their bodies so stiff they couldn't move. Zhang Yi calmly waved his arm. Kill them all, leave no one alive. The battles between different races are a matter of life and death. Once the war begins, any member of the Zhurong tribe who escapes may return to seek revenge. After all, the Alawada Empire was destroyed for the same reason. The 100,000-strong mechanical army advanced at full speed. As the heavily armored soldiers advanced, the heat valves on their backs emitted plumes of white mist, like the simultaneous breaths of 1,000 horses. The vanguard raised their arms, and the towering city wall of the Zhurong clan, 100 meters away, was instantly riddled with bullets. The lava-retaining wall cracked like tofu under the high-frequency amplitude cutting. They didn't even use concrete. How could the seemingly tall and thick city walls possibly withstand the bombardment of those super guns and cannons in the hands of mechanical life forms? Who are they? What are these things? They're terrifying. Why are our defenses so weak? The Zhurong warrior screamed in terror, but before his voice could even finish, the cover behind him was breached, and a huge round hole was pierced through his chest. He died instantly. Where did they come from? How did they manage to find the hidden habitat of our tribe? Even on their deathbeds, they remained utterly perplexed. The lava rivers served as their natural barrier, blocking almost all electronic signals and acting like a chaotic maze, deterring most civilizations from venturing in. Even within the Zhurong clan, only a very few high-ranking members knew how to enter and exit. It was precisely because they were too confident in their defenses that they became so complacent and were able to be defeated at their base. Buzz. The aerial swarm took off, its silver wings unfurling, and thousands of drone-like mechanical life forms dispersed at high speed, each spark instantly becoming a tracking marker. 3rd Army Corps, 5th Army Corps. Split to the left, insert in a triangular formation, and break their formation. Liu Karen's gaze was indifferent and cold. With a casual flick of his finger, a row of claw compartments opened in the hull of the Dreamer. Hundreds of E-metal drones leaped from the cabin into the molten wind, their wings fluttering slightly as they flew in unison, leaving pale blue streaks at the feet of the Zhurong people. These were not blades, but low-pressure trails left by the high-frequency cutting of air. Wherever the trajectory passed, the knees of all the Zhurong people broke silently, their rock armor sank into craters, the flames subsided, and entire teams knelt in the raging wind. "Ah!" Painful cries echoed across the land. Could it be that they're the army of the land people? Finally, someone realized something was wrong. A high-ranking officer, a Zhu-Rong warrior with a supernatural ability index of 13,000, shouted in panic. War doesn't break out suddenly. Considering that just a few hours earlier, a group of elite warriors from the Zhu-Rong clan had marched onto land, he naturally thought of this possibility.